we're going to see classes. This is basically stepping from C to C++. This is also a new way, a new approach to looking at programs, also called as object-oriented programming view, or sometimes called as the top-down view. So there are multiple ways you can see what we are going to do now. It's kids who think the C way, and it's like adults who think the C++ way. And the main reason is that the in C++ or when you program using classes, you have to think in a slightly different way than the way you used to write your programs. So this is the object-oriented way to see things. What is the object-oriented way to see things? You have, so this is more like the how you can think of how nature is, how the world exists. You have to think of people or everything around you are objects, right? So there is a chair, there's a table, there's a laptop in front of you. There are human beings. They are all different objects, and these different objects kind of interact with each other, right? So things like I use my computer. So basically, I am calling a function of the computer. So computer is an object which has some functionalities inside it. So I call some functionality of the computer, and similarly, I talk to some other human being, so we communicate. So we are two different objects of the same type. So the same human types are communicating. So this is the way you have to think. So what is the reason for this objective? So this has a, so this the objective oriented programming paradigm is more natural, because now you can, so the earlier the programming concept was a sequential concept, right? So things are coming in top down approach, but in the object oriented concept, it is nothing called sequential, because two programs or two objects, two human beings can be in different machines. They're of the same type, human type, two different objects, and they can be interact, etc. And that's how humans live. I mean, that's how the world is, right? So that's kind of the idea which we are bringing in, and it has nice, so it has a lot of nice properties, in the sense it has properties like encapsulation and abstraction, which probably you have seen. So it's the idea of encapsulation is that you can kind of collect all your things of the same nature into one place. So whenever you know something is wrong in that, you just have to go to that place, that thing which has this property. You go there and check and fix the problem there, the bug there. On the other hand, it also brings in abstraction. So what is abstraction? So for example, uh, I have a computer in front of me, right? Similarly, you are looking at a computer or a mobile phone, and I don't know how it works. What is inside it, I don't know. That's all abstracted out from my view. All I see is there are only two ways I can communicate with the machine. One is through the screen, and the other is through my keyboard, right? So this is, so that you can think of it like two functions which I am able to call: the screen function, through which I can I can see, and the keyboard function, through which I can send messages to the computer, right? So that is an abstraction, because all the things which happen inside the program, when inside the computer, when I type a letter A or when I type a letter B, or when something is displayed on the screen, all what is happening inside it is abstracted out from me. And it's good that it's abstracted out, right? I don't want to know all these things. If I come to know all these things, I won't be able to work, because I will be uh, with, it's impossible for me to work with all those knowledge, right? So it's good for me that all these things I don't have to know, and for me to use the computer, I don't have to know all these things, and it's good for me, right? Now this is same, it's the same thing. If you are using a mobile phone, it's the same thing. It's good. You can see limited functionalities, and the rest are abstracted out. So that's abstraction. Abstraction is the it's basically what the object is providing to the outside world to see. Rest of the things are basically abstracted out. Now all theory is fine. All my explanation on how object oriented view of thing is looks okay in theory. It all looks good, but maybe you didn't even understand what I'm trying to say. The only way you can understand it, the why we need object oriented programming, is you program. uh, Otherwise it's this is like swimming. You can't learn by theory. Okay, you just learn that you need to do some things for swimming, and you are thrown into water, you won't be able to swim. You have to go out into the water and swim. So similarly, you have to do programming. You have to do traditional C programming, and if you have done that, then once you do object oriented programming in C++, you will start appreciating it. So let's try to see. So what is so let's kind of think of an object which so what is one type of an object? Let's say humans, or let's say students. Okay, student is an object, right? Good. And now I want to make a class of students. So what is a class? This is not your class where you study. This is a class is basically, it's like a structure, but it has some more additional power and additional functionalities which you will see. uh, right. So let's create a student class and see how it's going to. Okay, I'm going to save it as student.cc, and this is a class student. Okay, what are the things the class student should have? The class student should have, let's say, the student should have name, and I'm going to put a 50 limit, character limit. Let's say is age. What else is required? He has a roll number. Let's just keep this. Okay, now this is the class student. Now, as I said, the all the functionalities associated with the student are also encapsulated, collected together in one place. What is this collected together in one place? It's collected together inside this class. So what are the functions you want for this student? Let me say a function called, first of all, I want to say like, print student, right? So I need to have a print function, right? I mean, you need a print function. So what is the print function going to do? It's going to just print. It's going to print name. So let me just put an fashion. It's going to say name, percentages, and then I'm going to write age, percentage D. I'm going to say roll number, percentage U, and I'm going to write name, comma, age, comma, right. I just printed the student information. I can also have, let's say, right. This is my print function. So similarly, you should also have a function to scan, basically to read from the keyboard student information, and let me do that also. And so let me say def enter name and scanf. What is else? Enter name, age, this has to be the address, right? Address of what is roll number. This had to be percentage D. So I just now I wrote a function to basically read from the keyboard this information. Clear? Okay. So now the student class is there, and these are the student. So now this is now the class is there, right? Now if there is something wrong in the scanning or the printing, I know where I have to come and do the make the changes, or if I have to modify it, I know where I have to come and make the necessary changes. So let me just do the following. This is a student class, and I have the main function now. The main function can create a student object. Okay, it's going to be called std. It's a student object, just like we had a class. We had a class definition. So we had a structure definition earlier. This is a student definition has been made, and I created the student object. And now what I can do is I can call the scan. So this is basically saying, okay, please read, please call the function scan, and function scan is called, and then whatever is content, whatever is inside the function scan is then executed. After the function scan is called, I'm going to call std print. That's it. As simple as that. So this is basically I've created a student class, and I'm going to read all the student information and then just print it. Let me just run it, compile it and see. Okay. So gcc student.cc. Lot of problem. So there is so scanf no for the scanners. So let me just add std io.h, right? Now this is the void print is okay. Now okay, so this is the first mistake I made. So I am accessing scan and print. This is not permitted right now because the class gives the maker of the class, the one who wrote the class, student class, has the right. So as we said, it's about abstraction. The student class, the one who wrote the student class, can decide which are the functions the outside world can see. That's what we said about abstraction, right? Only those things which the outside world has to see or allowed to see, only those things they can see. Like in the computer, I can only access the functions, the keyboard and the screen. But there are hundreds of things which is happening inside the computer, and I don't know these things. I can't access all those functions. And this is the same. Right now, the student class is not permitting anything for the outside world to see. Now, if I have to make permit, I have to type public. So if I type public, it says that the print, whatever is below print and scanner, they are going to be public. So anyone can use it. So let me just compile and see again. It's compiled perfectly. So print and scanner, they are now public and people can access it from outside. It's clear? Good. Now let me compile. /reload and it's working. It's now running in the scanf. Now scanf is asking for the name, and I'm going to type in something. And then I type in 23 and some row. Right? So it's clear, and everything is printed. So let me do /n here, and maybe no need of all this /n, because the enter, when I enter that enter is now taken, so that's fine. Okay, now let me do it again. Name is and roll number is something like this. So here, so it's printed. Student information, name, age, roll number, everything is printed, right? So things are how I want. That's good. Now let me do the following. Let me not call scanf. Okay, I'm going to not call scanf, and I'm going to print it. So okay, so let me before that let's try to so you understood what is happening here, right? The student class is there, and it has inside it, can I do the following? Can I do the following? std, can I set std dot age is 20? Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me compile it and see what happens if I do that. It's saying it can't access. Why? Because it's a private member. Age is a private member. It's not public. You have to understand that it's not public because I didn't say it's public. But if I had done this, if I had written public here also, then all everything below public, as we said, is public. So that's then you are able to access it. On the other hand, if I had written private here, you can't. It's clear? Okay. You can't access now age because it's private, right? Uh, so let's say so, I mean, and we would want these things to be private, right? Because we don't want others to access it unless through the print and scan function, right? Now, this much, let me remove this. So this is about private and public, and it's a very important concept. These private and public allow the one who makes the class maker, to give the required abstraction. And we should also always think about what is the best way to abstract. Or whenever you are going to create a class, you need to think what should be made public and what should be made private. And okay, that's one thing. And as I was saying, you should also start to think your programming in the class way, in the object oriented way. You have to always think what is the class here. Something which comes to some things which are seem to be related can be made into a class. Thank you.